The lights were too bright. The metal table was too cold. And the pain. The pain was everywhere. She couldn't move, couldn't speak. The voices around her sounded like clicking glass and dry wind. Alien doctors. Her people. Their words hurt. More than the wounds. Too much damage, one said, clicking its long fingers. Not worth the effort, another replied. They stood over her, but they didn't look at her. Not really. Just a failed subject. A broken tool. She was still awake, still alive. But they didn't care. Terminate or abandon? Asked a sharp voice. Too expensive to waste more resources. Answered another. Then leave her. Lock the room. That was it. No sadness, no goodbye. Just silence as the door closed behind them. And she was alone. Her breath came in slow, sharp gasps. She didn't know how long she had. Minutes, hours. She tried to remember how she got here. A mission gone wrong? A test? No. An escape? Yes, she tried to escape. They caught her, beat her. Threw her on this table. She was nothing to them now. Just another error to throw away. Her vision blurred. The lights above began to dim in her mind. Maybe it was the end, but then clunk. A soft sound. Not the sharp steps of alien boots. Heavy, slow, human. The door opened. A figure stepped inside. Tall, 2 arms, 2 legs. No plates, no glowing eyes. A human, she blinked. Was it real? Or a dream? The human moved carefully. Quiet. He wore a dark suit with scratches and wires running down the sleeves. His boots were dirty. His face had a scar across one cheek. He looked around once. Then his eyes found her. He stopped. For a moment, he didn't move. She stared at him. He stared back. Time froze. Then he walked over. Not fast, not scared. Just calm. He checked the machines, saw the flat lines. No life support, he whispered. They left you to die. She couldn't understand all his words, but she heard the tone. Anger. Not at her. For her, he touched her wrist gently, felt for a pulse. His face changed. You're still alive. She opened her mouth, tried to speak. Only a weak sound came out. The man leaned closer. Don't worry, I've got you. With surprising strength, he slid one arm under her shoulders, the other under her legs. She flinched, but he just said, easy now. I won't hurt you. He lifted her. She was light, almost weightless. She tried to understand. Why was he helping? What did he want? She managed one word. Her voice was barely a breath. Why? He looked down at her. His eyes were warm. Because you're not trash. You're a person. A loud noise outside made him turn fast. He cursed softly. Gotta move. With her in his arms, he stepped into the hallway. The lights flickered. Alarms hadn't started yet. Maybe the system thought no one would come here. He ran. Fast, focused. Her head rested against his chest. She could hear his heartbeat. Strong, calm. Every step he took was one she couldn't. They passed long, dark corridors. Pipes hissed. Machines beeped behind walls. No one stopped him. No one saw them. Then red lights flashed. A security drone hovered at the end of the hall. It scanned, turned toward them. The human spun, dashed into a maintenance tunnel. The girl groaned, pain shooting through her side. Sorry, he whispered. Just hold on. They crawled through narrow vents, dropped into dusty storage rooms. He avoided main paths. Took side routes only workers would know. Finally, he reached a hidden hangar. One small ship sat in the shadows. Old, patched, but ready. He set her down gently inside the ship in a padded chair. Almost there, he said, breathing hard. He ran to the control panel, pressed buttons. The ship hummed to life. Outside, footsteps echoed. Voices shouted, "Too late." Engines roared. The hangar door blasted open, and they were gone. Stars appeared. Outside the window, black space. Freedom. The alien girl stared at him. He didn't look back. His hands moved quickly across controls. His eyes were sharp, but not cold. Finally, he sat down beside her. "You're safe now," he said. She tried to speak again. Only a whisper came. "Who are you?" The man smiled. "Just a human who hates watching good people die." She blinked. No one had ever called her that before. A good person. She didn't know where they were going, or what came next. But for the first time, she didn't feel alone. The stars outside were calm. But inside the small ship, chaos was close. The human's fingers flew over the controls. Lights blinked red. A warning buzzed on the dashboard. Come on," he muttered. "Don't stall on me now." The alien girl sat in the co-pilot seat, eyes half open. Her body still hurt, but she felt the tremble in the air. Something was wrong. "What's happening?" she asked weakly. The human glanced at her. They saw the hangar door open. "They're sending ships." He pulled a lever. The ship jolted, shaking like a can in a storm. She gripped the armrest. "We won't make it." He looked at her again, and this time, he smiled. "Oh, we'll make it. Just not the way they expect." Behind them, the alien space station lit up with flashing lights. Tiny black dots zipped into the darkness. Enemy ships. They were fast, armed. Many. He flipped 2 more switches. "You see that asteroid field ahead?" She squinted. Sharp rocks floated like knives in space. "Yes," he grinned. "We're going through it." Her eyes widened. "That's suicide." He winked. "Only if you fly like they do." Then he hit the thrusters. The ship roared forward. The girl felt the push in her chest. Her weak body sank into the seat. But something else stirred inside her to dash excitement. Outside, the asteroids spun slowly. Cold, dead. But deadly, the human weaved through the first layer. Like he'd done it 100 times. Alien ships followed 3 of them. "They're tracking us," the girl said. "Let them," he replied. "They'll regret it." One ship got too close. The humans suddenly turned hard left. A spinning rock clipped the enemy ship's wing. It spun out, crashed into another boom. A burst of fire in space. 2 down. 1 left. The human's hands moved like water over the controls. He didn't look scared. He looked alive. "They don't come in here," he explained. "Too risky. No AI can handle it. But I'm not AI." She watched him, focused, fast, laughing as he dodged death. The last ship chased them deeper. Too deep. The humans slammed a button. Panels on their ship opened. Metal junk flew out behind them. The alien ship swerved too slow. A small asteroid crashed into its engine. Another boom. Gone. Silence. The girl looked at him, stunned. You knew that would work?" He leaned back in the chair. "Mostly," she laughed. "Just a little. It hurt, but it felt good." The human set the ship on auto, for now. He stood and walked to her seat. He knelt beside her. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "You saved me again." He looked serious now. "I didn't do it because of you." She blinked. "What?" He looked her in the eyes. "I did it because what they did to you was wrong, and I couldn't walk away." She looked down. "But I'm not like you. I'm not human." He gently touched her shoulder. "You're alive. That's enough." Silence hung in the air, soft, peaceful. Then she asked, "Where are we going?" He walked back to the front and typed something. A star map opened. Okay, lines of travel. One was highlighted. "A place your kind fears," he said. They never go near it. She looked nervous. Why? He turned to her. Because they say it's cursed, full of storms, broken tech. Ghost signals. She tilted her head. And we're going there. He smiled. Exactly. She stared at him. You're insane? He shrugged. Maybe, but that's why I'm not one of them. The ship left the asteroid field and entered warp. Stars stretched into long lines. Everything went quiet again. The girl leaned back, finally breathing easy. But then she saw something on the wall, beside the chair. A photo, 4 people, humans, smiling, a woman and 2 kids. And him, she touched it gently. Your family? He didn't turn. Just nodded double quotes. Where are they now? She asked. He paused. Gone. War, same people who left you behind. She looked at the photo again, then at him. I'm sorry. He gave a small smile. It's not your fault. She looked down. My kind, we don't do rescue. We don't do mercy. If someone falls behind, they are forgotten. He nodded. I know. She looked out the window. Then why did you save me? This time, he turned fully. Looked at her, his eyes sharp and kind, because someone needs to show them what mercy looks like. She blinked. For a moment, she had no words. Then, she whispered, You're not like anyone I've ever met. And you, he said, are not as broken as they think. The ship drifted in silence. No alarms, no enemy ships. Just stars outside the window, and a giant planet ahead. It didn't spin like the others. It just hung there. Dark clouds covered most of its surface. Faint green lightning cracked through. The black sky, the alien girl sat in her seat, watching the strange world grow bigger. She whispered, This is the place. The human nodded. Yep. Old Earth map calls it Erebus 9. Your kind called it cursed. They sealed the route decades ago. She swallowed. Why? He leaned forward. Storms, radio noise. No clear land to land on, but mostly because ships vanish here. People too. She turned to him slowly, and we're going. Why? He gave her a small grin. Because that means no one else is coming. The ship shook gently as they entered the atmosphere. Clouds slammed against the hull. Wind howled. The lightning turned red. She held the seat with both hands. We'll crash, he shook his head. Not today. Through the clouds, something appeared below island, floating in the middle of a black sea. It looked like a chunk of rock had been torn from a mountain and dropped into the water, and in the center of the island, an old human station. Rusted but still standing, he landed the ship beside it, a perfect, careful drop. The wind screamed around them, but the landing was smooth. He powered down the engine and turned to her. Welcome to my hideout. The doors opened with a hiss. Cold air hit them. The girl gasped. The planet smelled odd, like metal and stone and something old. She stepped out slowly. Her legs still ached, but they were healing. She was walking now, a little more each day. The human grabbed a metal box from the ship's supplies. Tools, a rifle. They moved together through the wind. Toward the old station, the doors opened with a low groan. Inside, it was quiet, dark, but dry. She looked around. You've been here before? He nodded. Long time ago. When I needed to disappear, he flicked a switch. Old lights blinked to life. Dust danced in the beams. I kept this place off. The maps, he said. No one comes here. Not humans. Not aliens. Not even scavengers. She stared at him. You really like hiding? He gave a tired smile. When you lose everything, you either disappear or burn everything down. She lowered her head. almost burned. You pulled me back." They stood in silence for a moment. Then he opened a door to a small side room. "Here, you'll sleep here. I'll fix it up." The room was plain. Bed, a chair, a screen that didn't work, but to her it looked like freedom. She touched the bed. Soft. He paused at the door. "Get some rest. You need it. Tomorrow I'll show you the whole station." She looked up. "You trust me to stay?" He turned back, serious now. "I didn't come this far to lock you in a room." Then he left her alone. That night, she couldn't sleep, not because of fear, but because her mind wouldn't stop spinning. This place, this man, this feeling of being safe. She wasn't used to it. The next day, he showed her the station. There was a kitchen, a repair room, a greenhouse full of strange earth plants growing under fake lights. Machines hummed softly in the background. He moved like he'd lived here for years, fixing things. Tuning gear, cooking simple meals. She followed him, quiet but watching. At one point, she asked, "You're not a soldier anymore, are you?" He paused, stirring a pot. "No, I left." "Why?" He looked out the window at the Black Sea. "Because we stopped. Saving people. We just followed orders." That's when I knew I couldn't stay. She nodded slowly. "My kind is like that. Cold, efficient. No feeling." He looked at her. "Then how did you end up on that table?" She hesitated, then sat down. "I was part of a project, something secret. They trained us to be stronger, smarter, but I failed one of the tests. Just once. They said I was defective." He frowned. "So they dumped you." She nodded. "That's how it works. Weakness is death." He was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke. "Well, they're wrong. And if I have to show you why one day at a time, I will." She didn't answer, but she didn't look away either. Later that evening, they sat near the ship. The storm had calmed for a while. The sky above was a strange shade of violet. He handed her a small device, translator chip, old model. "You wear it behind your ear." She put it on. It buzzed softly. He spoke again. "Can you understand me better now?" She blinked. The words came in smooth, clear. "Yes, perfectly." He smiled. "Good. Makes things easier." Then he handed her a cup. Steam rose from it, a warm smell. She sniffed. "What is it, tea?" he said. "From Earth." She took a sip. Her eyes widened. "It's good." He laughed. "You say that like you're surprised." She looked into the cup. "I've never had anything just because it was good before." He looked at her for a moment, then said, "Well, now you do." Strict. The wind howled outside, but inside the station. It was warm. The human sat across from her at a small table made from scrap metal. A soft lamp glowed above them. It flickered sometimes, like it wasn't sure if it wanted to stay on. Between them was a plate of food. Real food, warm, cooked. The alien girl had never eaten like this before, not with someone, not in peace. She took a bite. It was simple rice, something called beans, and strange earth spices. Her eyes lifted slowly. "Why do you always cook for me first?" she asked. The human gave a half smile and shrugged. "Habit, soldiers eat last. Guests eat first." She frowned. "But I'm not a guest. I'm a burden." His smile faded. "No," he said. "You're a survivor. There's a difference." She looked down. Her fingers touched the edge of the plate. The warmth of the food was still soaking into her hands. Then she asked quietly, "Do you actually care what happens to me?" He didn't answer right away. He leaned back in his chair, watching her carefully. "I didn't save you just to feel good about myself," he said. "I didn't drag you across space because I needed company." "Then why?" she asked. Her voice was soft, but her eyes burned. He took a deep breath. Because they left you behind. And someone had to tell you they were wrong. She blinked. His words hit something inside her chest. Not pain, not fear, something. New, heavy, warm. No one's ever said that to me, she whispered. Not once. He nodded. I figured. She stared at him, then asked the question she had never asked anyone before. What do you see when you look at me? Silence. The question surprised even her. It came from somewhere deep. From a small voice she had pushed down for years. The human leaned forward. His voice was quiet. Honest. I see someone who was taught to hide, to follow, to obey. He paused. But now I see someone learning to stand. Even if it hurts. She didn't speak. Her hands were shaking, but she didn't know why. He added gently, You don't have to be what they made you. But what am I then? She asked. He smiled. Whatever you decide to be. Later that night, she couldn't sleep. The storm had returned. Wind battered the walls. Lightning flashed beyond the windows. But her thoughts were louder than the storm. His words echoed in her mind. You don't have to be what they made you. She stood up and walked quietly to the control room. The human was there, as always. Tuning equipment, checking sensors. He looked up when she entered. Couldn't sleep. He asked. She shook her head. Too many thoughts. He nodded like he understood. It happens. She sat next to him. The chair was too big for her, but she didn't care. I've been thinking, she said slowly. Maybe I don't know how to be anything, if I'm not what they built me to be. That's okay, he replied. You don't have to figure it all out today. She looked at the screen. A map of the system glowed softly. No signals, no danger, just silence. I was afraid to ask you what you saw in me, she admitted. Why? Because I thought you'd see what I see. A failure, a waste. He turned toward her, his face serious. I see strength, not the kind you use to fight. The kind that keeps breathing when everything says stop. She met his gaze. I want to believe you. I really do. Then start with this, he said. Believe that I'm telling the truth. She didn't answer. Not right away. But then she said, okay. Just one word. But it felt like a mountain had moved inside her. The next day, he showed her the training room. It was small, just padded floors, a few weights, and some old combat dummies. Thought you might want to move around, he said. She stepped in slowly. Her feet sank slightly into the mat. Her body was still healing, but stronger now. He handed her a simple wooden stick. Not a weapon, just balance. She raised it. Her hands remembered. The training from before. Movements burned into her body. By drills and commands, she moved through the forms slowly. He watched in silence, nodding. You've still got it. She stopped. Looked at him. You trained too. He lifted his shirt just enough to show a scar. Too much. She smiled. A little. Your people fight for honor. He shook his head. We fight for each other. That sentence hit her harder than she expected. No rank, no cold commands. Just each other. She whispered, I don't know what that feels like. He looked at her gently. You will not. Night, they sat again at the table. She sipped her tea quietly, then said, I asked you what you see in me. He nodded. I remember. She looked at him now, her eyes clearer than ever. Can I tell you what I see in you? He blinked. Go. Ahead. I see someone who's lost everything, but still gives everything. His lips parted slightly, caught off guard. I see someone who could have left me, like everyone else, but didn't. Then she smiled. Small. Real smile. I see the reason I'm still alive. The human didn't speak for a long moment, but When he did, his voice was softer than ever. Then I guess we both saved someone. It began with a sound, a soft beep. A red light flashing on the far side of the control room. The human leaned over the screen, frowning. Signal, low band, directional, not ours. The alien girl stood behind him, her body tensed. Someone found us. Maybe, or maybe they're just scanning. His voice was steady, but his eyes weren't calm. The signal repeated, then stopped. He hit a button. I'm jamming our location. But if they already marked us? She stepped closer. Should we run? He looked out the window. The sky was dark, storm clouds rolling again. The ship's fuel was low, the station barely running. We can't outrun them. Not this time, he said quietly. She swallowed. Then we fight. He turned to her. For a moment, he looked like he wanted to say no. But instead, he said, only if you're ready. 1 hour later, the wind screamed outside. Lightning cut through the clouds like knives. And the girl stood in the hallway of the station, holding the wooden stick from training. Her hands trembled. Not from fear, from energy. From something she hadn't felt before. Choice. She was not being ordered. Not pushed into a test. Not programmed to act. She chose this in the control room. The human loaded a strange rifle with old earth bullets. Loud, messy, powerful. A weapon from a time before lasers. He looked over at her. Still, sure. She nodded. I'm not hiding. Anymore? He smiled. Good. They won't expect that. The enemy came quietly. 3 small landing crafts. No lights, no sound. They dropped out of the clouds like ghosts. Their skin was gray and plated. Their eyes sharp and silver. Not her. Kind exactly, but close. Same empire. Same cold way of thinking. They came for her. To take her back. Or to erase her. But they didn't know she wasn't running anymore. The first one entered the station. He moved down the corridor, scanning slowly. Long rifle in hand. His steps were silent. Precise, then dash crack. A sharp blow hit the back of his helmet. He dropped. The alien girl stood behind him, breathing hard, stick in hand. She looked down at him, and for the first time, she didn't feel fear. She felt anger. Not wild, not reckless, cold, focused. This is my home now. She said. The others came faster. The human triggered a trap at the door. An old EMP blast. It shorted one ship's systems and dropped 2 enemies flat on the ground. Another entered from the air, roof crawling down through the vent. The girl heard it. She turned, grabbed a metal rod from the wall, stood beneath the hatch. The enemy dropped, and she struck hard. The rod bent. The enemy hit the floor, blood on the wall. She stared at it, her breath fast, her heart loud. She had never fought like this before, not for survival. Not with rage in her blood and freedom in her hands. The human rushed in. Are you okay? She looked at him, sharp, steady. Yes. He checked the sensors, to left, closing in. She nodded. Let's end it. The last battle was at the ship. The 2 final enemies tried to take it. To steal the only way off the planet. But the human and the alien girl were already there. Waiting. The human fired the earth rifle. 1 shot, 1 enemy down. The last one turned to run, but the alien girl moved faster. She tackled him, drove him down into the dirt. He fought back, but she didn't give in. You left me to die, she growled in her language. He hissed back. You were broken. She slammed his head into the ground. Not anymore. He went still. She stood up slowly. Her arms covered in dust and blood, her breath shaking. The human came over. You didn't have to take that last one alone. I know, she said. But I wanted to. Later in the quiet, the bodies were gone. The traps reset. The storm finally began to pass. The human sat on the steps outside the station, a cup of tea in his hand. The alien girl sat beside him, her hair tied back, her face calm but changed. He looked at her. "You fought like someone who's done that before." "I haven't," she said. "Not by choice." He nodded. "How do you feel?" She was quiet for a long moment, then said, "Free, tired, alive." He smiled. "Good answer." She looked. At the dark sky above, the stars started to peek through the clouds again. "I didn't know I could do that," she whispered. "You didn't know," he said. "Because no one ever gave you a reason to try." She turned to him. "You did." He held up his cup. 2 first fights. And first victories. She touched her own cup to his. To never going back. They sat there in silence, watching the storm roll away. And for the first time since she woke up on that metal table, she knew who she was becoming. Asterisk days passed. Quiet days. No more signals. No more threats. The alien girl spent her time walking the station, helping the human with repairs, practicing with the staff. Her body was stronger now. Her eyes brighter, but something still stirred in her chest. A question she hadn't asked yet. Why did they want her dead so badly? She had failed one test, but they came back with ships and weapons, not to recover her. To erase her, it didn't feel like punishment. It felt like fear. One evening, the human opened a dusty storage crate deep in the station. Inside were old Earth scanners, cracked helmets, and a strange alien data chip. He picked it up. "I took this from their station. The day I found you." She leaned over his shoulder. "What is it? Not sure? Let's find out." He connected it to an old terminal. Static filled the screen. Alien script flickered. He tapped a few buttons. Translated lines appeared. Slowly, Subject 7, she. Cellular regeneration exceeds projections. Neural capacity unstable. Emotional variance increasing. Terminate before data leaks. Immediate protocol. Erase memory logs. Erase subject. Do not alert high command. The girl froze. 7 she. That was my code. The human stared. At the screen, then at her. "They were scared of you." She nodded slowly. "I was healing faster than the others. I felt things I wasn't supposed to." He scrolled down. Specimen shows cross-species DNA traits. Earth-human fragments confirmed. Cause unknown, could trigger diplomatic crisis. Do not allow discovery. His eyes widened. "Wait. They found human DNA in you." She took a step back. Her chest felt tight. "That's impossible." The human turned to her. No wonder they panicked. They didn't just see you as a failure. They saw you as a mistake they couldn't explain. She sat down. Her hands trembled. "Then, what am I?" He knelt beside her. "Okay, more than they ever." "Understood?" She looked at him. "Did they create me with human DNA?" He frowned. "Or maybe you're proof of something even bigger. Something they tried to hide." Her voice shook. "Like what?" He looked at her softly. "That your kind and mine aren't so different after all." That night, Sue stood in front of the mirror in the old station washroom. She studied her face, the sharp alien features, the faint glow in her skin. But now, she searched for something more. Was there something human inside her? And what did that even mean? She thought about how she had always felt different. Even before the test, she asked questions others didn't. She hesitated when others obeyed. She had emotions, empathy, curiosity. They called it weakness. But now, she wondered if it had been strength all along. The next morning, she walked into the greenhouse. The human was watering small plants, beans, and flowers. She stood across from him. I want to know more. He looked up. About what? About Earth. About humans. About what I might be. He smiled. Then you'd better sit down. I've got stories. Hours passed. He told her about Earth cities full of lights, about oceans that sang at night, about people who cried at music and argued over sports and made food, just to share joy. She listened to every word like it was gold. He told her about war too, mistakes, greed, but also forgiveness. Hope you don't need perfect blood to be human. He said, you just need the will to care. She touched her chest. Then maybe I've been human for a long time, without knowing it. That evening, the station lights dimmed. Power saving mode. They sat by the window, stars above, black sea below. She turned to him. If I really do have human DNA, doesn't that make me dangerous? He looked at her gently. No, it makes you new. But what if others find out? They'll come again. To destroy me. He nodded. Then we be ready. Together. She was quiet for a moment. Then asked, why are you not afraid of me? His voice was calm. 'Cause I've seen who you are, not just what they said you were. She looked away. I'm still scared. He leaned closer. You don't have to be brave alone. Later. That night, she accessed the alien chip again, alone. One final file remained locked. She cracked it open. Inside was a secret log, a hidden video, a lab. Doctors arguing. One voice shouting, if anyone finds out what we've done, it could end the entire alliance. Another voice, she's not a subject anymore. She's a warning. Then static. She closed the screen. For a long time, she sat in the dark. Then she whispered to herself, I'm not a warning. I'm a beginning. The message came through in the early hours. A sleek alien ship hovered in low orbit, just beyond the planet's storm layer. No weapons were fired, no threats spoken. Only a voice. Subject 7. She. We are aware of your survival. We are not here to harm you. We offer safe return. Your data will be erased. Your record cleaned. You will be free. The alien girl stood beside the human in the control room. The screen glowed with their symbol, her people's mark. She stared at it for a long time. They've never used words like that before, she said quietly. They're afraid, the human replied. Afraid of what you know and what you've become. She nodded slowly. They think they can fix this, erase it, put it all back in the box. The human looked at her. But you don't want that, do you? She turned to him. No, I want to face them. His eyes narrowed. Face them how? She looked back at the screen. With the truth. A few hours later, she stood outside the station. The wind was calm. The storm had moved east. A small landing craft came down slow, controlled. Its silver skin shimmered in the light. 2 alien officers stepped out, tall, sharp-edged, dressed in white armor. They looked at her like she was a puzzle that had grown legs. Subject 7. She. One of them said, you are far from where you belong. She didn't flinch. I don't belong to you anymore. They paused, measured. You are not in danger. Come back. We'll erase the files. Seal your records. You'll live a private life. Quiet. Safe. She smiled bitterly. You don't get to erase me now, not after what you did. They stiffened. You are the result of a failed experiment. Your survival is not supposed to exist. We are offering peace. She took one step forward, her voice calm. You are offering silence. They hesitated. She continued. I've seen what you hide, the human part in me, the part you feared. But now I know that's not weakness. The officer narrowed his eyes. And what is it then? She held her head high. It's strength. The kind that doesn't run. The kind that chooses its own future. The second officer spoke. You would throw away everything we gave you. For a life with him. She looked back at the human, standing in the doorway of the station. Then she turned again. He gave me something you never did. A choice. They said nothing. She stepped back. Go home. Tell them I'm not yours anymore. I'm not a warning. I'm not a secret. I'm me. The wind picked up. The ship behind them began to power up. One officer spoke quietly. You'll regret this, she smiled. I used to regret everything. Now I regret nothing. They left that night. The fire crackled in the corner of the station. The human sat across from her, polishing tools. He didn't speak first. She did. They gave me one last chance to go back, to disappear, to live quietly, and pretend I was nothing. He looked up. And you chose not to. She nodded. I chose to live like a human. He smiled. And how does that feel? She stared into the fire for a long time. Then said, it feels like I finally understand what freedom is. Later, she picked up the translator chip and held it in her hand. I used to think your words were strange, she said. Ah, but now they feel like mine. He looked over. They are yours? She walked to the window, looking out at the stars. I want to build something here, she said. A place where others like me, broken, lost, can come. He stood beside her. A new beginning. She nodded. No tests, no ranks. Just people. Helping each other, he took a deep breath. You sure you're ready for that? She turned to him, her voice steady. I've been ready since the day you didn't leave me on that table. Weeks later, the station had changed. Rooms were repaired. Lights brighter. Gardens growing faster. And in the center a flag. Not of one world, not one species. A blank symbol for anyone who had been left behind. The girl no longer a subject. No longer a number stood beside the human as ships from the outer rim landed. Refugees, survivors, outcasts, she welcomed them with open arms. They didn't know her story, not at first, but they saw something in her, something strong, something kind, something human. Much later, the human sat on a bench by the water, a mug in his hand. The alien girl joined him, older now, stronger, leader of something beautiful. She looked at him and asked, do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't come into that room? He smiled. Sometimes she looked at the stars. They left me to die. He nodded. And you lived. She held up her cup. 2 second chances. He clinked his with hers. To choosing your own way. She smiled, and in that smile was the end of fear and the beginning of everything else.